Scum and villainy, it's a wretched hive. But life ain't always teddy bears, fireworks, and high fives. The folks round here don't care for sand.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Cantina Club. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus the past month or so, but we're back with a regular episode of Cantina Club. But we've got something that's a first that we've never done on this show before, and we'll be right back after this to tell you what that is.
We all know round here, Solo always does shots first. Singing Young Nose.
This is all natural podcast.
And sing Young Nose.
Oh, yeah.
Sing it with me.
Yeah.
Young Nose.
Yeah, we call it a podcast, but it's really just
At the
Yeah, it's just a
Cantina
video
Club.
cast.
I've never actually put it on a podcast.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, welcome back. And as promised, we have a very special thing that we've never done before here on Cantina Club. First time. And I'm going to turn it over to Greedo, who's going to introduce something for us.
Okay. Hello, Cantina Clubbers. You know, I'm Greedo. That's Carillion, Wave Carillion, and Gundark there. We have a new member, honorary member, Lobot. Give us a salute, Lobot, but remain silent because you're a mystery man. Lobot is joining us today to unveil the lost Star Wars movie, is what I like to call it. It's been over the history, the decades. It's been known as many different names. The lost Star Wars movie, the lost footage. There's an air of mystery. Very few have been privileged enough to see it. And it really will blow your mind, I think, and bring a whole new perspective to things. The only question I want to ask you, Lobot, before we, unveil the footage together, is what year did this originate from?
Best recollection is late 1978, early 1979.
Okay, so this goes to the very beginning of the Cantina Club. Even though we didn't know each other, we founded our club officially in 1978 as well. So this is the real deal. He was there. This has survived the decades. We're going to unveil it here. And we have it up where we're going to watch it together. We're going to do a countdown here. And, just have your natural reactions as you're watching it. And we'll discuss it as soon as the footage is over, or we can, Lobot, if you feel like telling us things about it after it's kind of unveiled, that's fine too. All right, here we go. We're going to start this together. Everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right, and 3, 2, 1, play.
That looks familiar.
It does.
The soundtrack album. Oh, the opening crawl. I love it.
Yes,
I like how the Death Star's in bold.
Exactly.
what?
Oh, I love it.
It's all there, you just can't read it.
Oh, we know what it says.
There we go. Oh,
Oh,
this is the Civil War they're talking about.
oh, wow. Oh, that is so cool. And they open the door. I love it.
They're polite rebels. They opened the door for him.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. An army of one. Oh, what a great costume.
Of course, Dave Prowse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it me or is the stormtrooper taller than everyone else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm stormtrooper.
Oh, I love it. Oh no. Oh no, Captain Antilles.
Nice boots.
Yes.
He has more dialogue than he did.
Yeah, we never got the sound dub.
I can just see his lips moving. He's talking quite a while for someone dying. Making the most of his moment.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I love it. Oh, nice.
Is that an actual ship? Like toy ship
Yep.
or model?
Oh.
Nice. Those eyes look familiar.
What is your R2D2 movie? Did they have a remote? They
It's
did
well
one
known
remote control.
that George Lucas wanted most of the movie out of focus. It's just the studio defeated his initial vision,
Exactly.
as you can see.
This is why this is the
Here.
newest special edition.
This is wonderful.
That's awesome.
And disaster strikes. Oh,
Oh,
oh. All right, there we go.
oh, that was
That's
awesome.
that's where our budget ran out.
I
That's
love
where
it.
the budget ran out.
That
Or
is
maybe
so
summer
perfect.
ended. What happened there?
No, it was budget.
Yeah, budget constraints. Yeah.
Couldn't afford any more film.
Yeah, but that was a little bit
So-
pricey in 1978.
Yes, yes.
So it wasn't George Lucas like Carillion was speculating it was going to be our guest. I
Might
kinda
as well have
hyped it
been.
as
Look
the
at that
last Star
footage.
Wars movie. Yeah, it was amazing. All right, if you could tell us a little bit about the story behind this amazing rendition
Sure.
of Star Wars.
Yeah, so of course in 1977, I was 11 years old. My friend Scott Miller, next door neighbor, huge Star Wars fans. We were at that perfect age. We were a little too old for the toys, and but we really liked the movie, and we would get the magazines and learn all about the special effects and all that. And John Dykstra was like a hero of mine, so that's where we got the idea. Let's try and make our own Star Wars film here. And I don't have any proof of this, of course, but I gotta think, folks, that this has got to be one of, if not the first, maybe the second fan film ever made. I don't know how that could be
Sure.
verified.
Based on the
there's
time frame, I'm
Empire
sure.
Wars, which of course is much more famous, but just for two kids from the suburbs of Chicago, getting an 8mm movie camera and some MPC models of R2D2 and C3PO, which I built, and then so this was a summer project, and we had made those costumes for Halloween 1978.
Oh, okay.
So the costumes themselves we had, from October of 78,
Mhm.
and then we didn't do the filming until later in the year, and then
Mhm.
early into 79. That one shot of the Jawa that was my friend's brother dressed up in that costume, that was 0 degrees out when at the top of a dirt hill to
Yeah, I can imagine
to get the
January
Jawa
in
shot.
Chicago.
So I do remember it being very cold, and but yeah, it was just a labor of love from a couple of kids, long before the internet, long before you had other distractions. This was the way that we sort of celebrated our love for Star Wars. And, I'm just glad that it was able to survive all these years. You can see there's some damage to it. It got stuck in the projector at that last frame, and it got burned. But I mean, I still have this. This is the actual roll of film here.
Oh, wow.
So that's the 8mm film.
Wow, that's great.
And this is the actual camera that we used
Oh, wow.
to film it. It's a 8mm camera, and you just had it on a tripod,
Still works.
and we would take our shots, and then it's a crank wind.
Mhm. Oh, wow.
So we didn't even have to budget for batteries. So so I've held on to this for all these years, and
That is really cool.
and I put it up on YouTube a few years ago, and I think the Replica Prop Forum found it somehow, and or I shared it there maybe, and then it just really exploded with comments, and people were saying it was fake, and no, this is new.
Oh,
and,
wow.
so,
Yeah, you filmed it last week.
The R2D2 model looked looked too articulated, and so I
So you
finally
did too
wrote
good a job.
I just wrote a big, a post setting the record straight.
Yeah.
And yeah, those were the NPC models. Now, the fun fact is what was the Star Destroyer for us at the beginning was the Battlestar Galactica that launched the foam.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that.
Launched
I remember those.
the good guy ships.
Mhm.
That was the Star Destroyer, and then the Rebel ship was an Apollo moon lander little model that I had, and we hung it on a fishing wire, and it just sort of went across the screen in that opening shot. And then my post production was we took and scratched the film with a pin to do the lasers, and then we tried dabbing some marker on there for red and green, and that didn't work too well. So, but
it still shows up though. I can.
It shows up really well, at least.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
still see the red and green kind of.
Tell what's going on there.
Right, and the plan had been to add the laser beams for when the stormtrooper came in. That was the hallway of my childhood home in Elkbrook Village. Of course, our walls were orange, 70s
Yeah,
orange.
70s.
I had to cover it all with white paper.
That was the color.
And yes, that was the stormtrooper coming out of my mother's bedroom into the hall. So we swung the door open, and Scott came out. Yeah, and Scott was like a full foot taller than me, so he should have been Darth Vader. And I should have been the
it was probably
stormtrooper.
best that you didn't blow up Mom's door.
Yeah, but Scott made a fully articulated stormtrooper costume out of cardboard and paper mache. I mean, every individual piece. He had the black suit on underneath, the helmets. We made our helmets out of formed them out of tin foil and then paper mached over it, and then lots of spray paint. I mean, my Vader helmet was a 2-piece one, just like the real thing. So
right. Wow.
So let me while you're talking about it, let me bring up the pictures here, and I will share the screen.
Yeah, I sent some screenshots so you guys can see some of the handiwork. But
here we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, not that one. That's
well, no,
I'll tell you about that one later.
Hang on one second.
So where's the one of the costumes?
I've got it. Here it is.
Okay. Yeah, so there's
the stormtrooper.
Right. So yeah, I mean it was the arm and the elbow piece and the midriff section and the butt plate and the helmet.
How did he get the this part?
On the back.
That was built up out of the tin foil and cardboard were very good for giving us forms and shapes, and then we would layer paper mache newspaper strips of newspaper and paper mache and then of course everything got painted white. You can see we had the tape on the back there. His waistband sort of popped during filming, so we had to do a quick onset onset.
Do you remember what the canister is in the back, or did you guys just make that out of?
That was a paper towel tube. So absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
And then for my Vader, like I said, it was a 2-piece helmet with again foil and paper mache, black spray paint.
Oh, there's the front of the trooper.
Yeah, I mean, and then I had the proportions mostly correct. My breathing area is a little large now that if you compare it directly. But again, don't forget, guys, we were working off of basically photos that we could find in magazines, not even the internet.
Absolutely.
Photos and memory, is pretty much all you have. And if you had one of those Mattel video, the film.
Yeah, the crank.
The little crank.
You can watch some of the scenes frame by frame on that. Yeah, we used to do that a lot.
Yeah. And
I love how this looks even raised, and it looks like you have switches on here.
Yeah, those are actual. I think those are some kind of game. No, I was saying I thought they were game pieces, but I know I had game pieces for the lights on the belt. You can just barely see some blue buttons.
Yeah.
It was what was that guy? I think it was called Boggle. Maybe it had these little tiny. No, not Boggle. It was a 70s game that had little tiny round pegs that you would put in.
I think the game of Life is one of those. Yeah.
Life. Yeah, no, that's exactly. Yeah, Life.
Life.
It was Life. So those became the lights in my, utility belt there. But again, that's all cardboard and just built up and spray painted. I've got the underneath my cape is I made the chest, the chest armor, going over my shoulders. That was there. But again, it was all just based off of what we could, find from magazines of the day. So
wow, yeah, that's really well done. Oh, I love it.
yeah, and that's so that's our hapless rebel there. This was during rehearsals at 800 Maple Court. So but there you can see the sort of the texture sort of is the giveaway of the paper mache and the foil, and but
look at the detail.
I know, that's fantastic.
And here on this,
that is incredible.
Right.
Just a group of kids throwing that together.
So the round, the little thin round things coming forward, those were straws that I embedded in there, and then covered that with again more paper mache and black spray paint. So old sunglass lenses I put into the eyepiece, which of course in that one shot it like the light shot right through it.
See right through it, yeah.
And you can see my face. So, but
I love it. Those are great.
Yep. And these are all of our brothers. So actually, that's me standing in the back.
Okay.
And then on the lower left there, that's Mike Miller, our stormtrooper's brother. That's my brother down below me, Matt Saul. And then that's another neighbor kid, Matt Kelly. And now if you look, those are the Han Solo blaster toys that we had, for our weapons, at least a couple of them. I forget what the other ones
well, this was a friend, so he didn't rate the Han Solo blaster.
Right. Oh, and
bring your own.
Another fun fact, the Rebel helmets are plastic hard baseball hats, turned backwards with the cardboard coming out the back of them. So we were Chicago White Sox fans, so the White Sox helmets were black, which was very handy.
That works out perfect.
We had to paint those, and we just turned them around and put the piece of cardboard on the back and an instant Rebel helmet. So
that's so great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So and like the boxes on the walls, these are like the bottoms of like Christmas Christmas gift boxes. The tops are always colored, but then the bottoms are just white. So just use the bottoms and tape those to the wall. You can see a little bit of the orange peeking through of the hallway.
Did you guys paint this or use like duct tape or something to make the?
That's probably just painted. Like we had tempera paint as well, so stuff like that was probably just masked off and taped, and markers, things like that. So
I like how this kid looks kind of scared.
Yeah, that's because
he's definitely in character.
So we actually made a squib, like an actual squib that detonates.
Wow.
And if you watch the film frame by frame, you'll see a flash. It is an old flash bulb. A round flash bulb that we wired to an Estes model rocket launching controller. And then the igniter for the Estes rocket, is what gave you the spark. And then we took Estes model rocket engines and ground up the propellant. And then we coated the flash bulb with chapstick. And then we rolled the chapstick coated bulb into the powder, and then we hooked that up, and then so Matt there pressed the button, and then when the flash bulb went off, the heat ignited the powder for like a realistic flash bang effect. So
that's fantastic.
And set off the smoke detector in our house, which my mom wasn't too happy about. So yeah.
This must have
those
been,
are great.
You must have taken quite a bit of work to get all this together.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just the texturing on the front, it looks just perfect. I mean, it's so
right. The shape,
the
sort of anatomical shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Midsection had all the different little features to it. I think he had a utility belt with it as well. And so again, my friend Scott, we've stayed in touch all these years. It's been 40 some odd more years, and he actually was just part of the project that restored the DeLorean car. I don't know if there was a documentary about it on the Discovery Channel it's been a couple of years now, but Scott was in that film. He was one of the people fabricating some of the parts that they couldn't fix, and they had to like make things new. So Scott is very talented, and he's still very much in the business. He does make replica stormtrooper costumes for the 501st guys.
Oh, wow.
And he's got, vacuum forming and all that kind of stuff. So Scott's, I mean, maybe that could be another show sometime, but
yeah, that'd be great.
Scott,
Absolutely. I'd love that.
Scott's been very involved in the sort of the replica prop making. He actually, I think he acquired the Grayflex flash handle from an actual speed graphic camera, and he's in the process of trying to make an original lightsaber, Luke lightsaber, as it was made by the original parts, not making anything, trying to source original stuff. So, but again,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, for a couple of 11-year-old kids, this was how we spent our summers, and I've just had a love of Star Wars ever since. And it's enjoyable for me that I can now share this, and people can get a kick out of it as well. So.
Absolutely. So let me ask you. So what led to this idea? Did you just have a love of filmmaking or an interest in it that just made you want to get into this? Or
yeah, absolutely. Again, from reading all the magazines and like I say, John Dykstra and all the ILM guys, those were my heroes. Those were the articles I was reading about the special effects, because that's what really was taken the country by storm, was how amazing this movie was. Not only the story, but just the way it looked and sounded and all those sorts of things. So I had a little bit of an interest in photography already, even at that young age, but then the filmmaking aspect of it just really hit home when I saw what I did when I was at the theater 11 times in 78. I saw it 11 times. Yeah. Scott and I actually saw it 11 times together on the big screen. And so, yes, we just needed to have something to do, and it was just idle away the time. So
that's so fair. That's
it's
perfect.
Funny too, because I think people get this impression that kids back then were gullible, about media and different things like that. And when they look at stuff that was, from the time, they think, wow, that's really, most of it, a lot of it they'll say is really bad or something. Star Wars was a huge technical achievement, but we were pretty naive and everything, but we weren't stupid either. Like, I remember we made fun of a lot of stuff for being fake, even when we enjoyed it and everything. You kind of expected a certain level of fakeness in things because it was hard to pull things off. But Star Wars was different because it really made you suspend your disbelief from the opening frames and that big Star Destroyer. So when you got to the cantina and stuff, you were just swept away. You weren't sitting there thinking about, oh, that's a latex mask or whatever, or that's the actors doing this. It was just another cool surprise in a movie full of just constant cool surprises, And but we weren't. What I'm trying to say is, we were impressed by the technical stuff. And we also could discern when things were, more subpar or whatever. Sure. And we had a good laugh at those too. We weren't just taking whatever was given to us,
Right.
But, and I think we talked about something you said. I mentioned that we used to, Carillion and Gundark and I used to go in like the Village Cinema in Memphis, and we'd go in the early afternoon and just stay all day.
Yeah, just stay all day and watch it over and over again.
I think you did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did it 3 times one Saturday.
Oh, wow!
And we had permission. I mean, it's not like we were stealing or anything back in the day. We stole,
but they knew who we were. They obviously came in and swept around and saw us sitting there. They just never asked us to leave, but we would.
Right, correct. Yeah.
But we used to sneak into other movies from the one we paid for all the time. We didn't think anything of it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We also took a tape recorder into The Empire Strikes Back, like
an audio recorder.
Huge one from
to get the sound effects.
We recorded the whole movie. Like
I took my movie camera in, actually.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So I took my movie camera into Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
I had
nice.
some footage of Raiders of the Lost Ark, the in the map room scene where you know it's
Yeah.
very bright and the sun's coming down,
Mhm.
and I'm sneaking my camera, you know, this thing like being as
Yeah.
quiet as I
You're
can.
one of those
you know.
guys that they show in the theater now with the hoodie up and looking real
Yeah,
shady
exactly.
with the cell phone.
So,
With the
so I
little
have
phone.
8mm film of that scene, which is you know off kilter and overexposed and everything. But
We're going to do an anniversary Raiders show or Raiders podcast coming up at some
Since
point.
this is the
That's one of
40th
our plans.
anniversary.
all right,
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a
we oughta-
podcast on that coming up
if
in
you're
the next few
if you're
weeks.
into that movie too, we ought to have you in for
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah,
your
we'd love you.
experiences of seeing that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So because we're kind of, I think we have a lot in common as far as our time frame and how we experience things.
Yeah,
and
we all
everything
seem to be
like
right
that.
around the same age. I know
Yeah.
Greedo and I were 10 when Star Wars came out. You said you were 11, so
Yep.
yeah, we're
Yep.
basically all right around the same time frame there. So
Yeah, that's fascinating. How you know, just like I said, Chicago. You guys sounds like you're in the Tennessee area.
yeah, Memphis.
Certainly
Yeah.
out east or south. And yet there's that parallel lives going on
Mhm.
with us. And did your Cantina Club really start in 78? I mean, this
1978. Yes, it did.
It did, yes.
and what was it
started-
like a
it's-
secret handshake in a treehouse kind of a thing, or
Pretty much.
Yes,
Somehow,
yeah.
yeah.
We
had
haven't
fun
told
now.
you the password or anything yet, but
Okay.
but you
No,
are
you-
on to remember. Yeah, it started in 77, but we didn't name it and start doing. We have tons of newsletters. If you look on our YouTube channel, one of our videos is called like the origin story or the story of the Cantina
Yeah, the
Club.
history of the Cantina Club or something.
And
Yeah.
it has in there a lot of the pictures of our original newsletters. We covered all the Star Wars news. Kind of, we were like the precursors of what people do on YouTube channels now.
Yeah.
For MCU or whatever, but we didn't have an audience. It was just
Yeah,
us.
it was just for
Yeah,
us.
right,
Yeah.
right.
We used one of our parents' offices with a copier, and we would make a copy for all the members, and we would, steal licensed images basically and
Oh,
put
sure. And
our
just
Cantina Club
photocopy
logo
them.
on it and put the month and the year. And but we got all of our info from like Bantha Track, Starlog,
Right.
Fantastic Films,
Yep.
Sun effects and all
wherever
that.
we
Yeah.
could, and then the TV specials that eventually started coming out and interviews and things like that. And we
Right.
would just kind of compile, and we kept track of like when we would add. We were one of the first families to have a video recorder, like a
Okay. Yeah.
like a home video, not like a camera, but like for media. So we
Right.
started collecting everything we could find. From like Siskel and Ebert to the Today Show to any
Yeah.
clips we could find, commercials.
Anybody that had talked about Star Wars for 30
Yeah.
seconds or more,
So we have tapes of all that stuff somewhere.
Yeah.
I need to look through it all again because there's probably some stuff that I would love to find the original Siskel and Ebert review of Star Wars because I've only been able to find their recap of it
Okay.
online. So we
Right.
might have that somewhere, but that's how we had fun. And then we would take that information and Gundark was the club secretary and she would put all the information together on there and stuff. So, and I usually came up with outrageous stories and we did comics and we did film reviews.
And I would say we'd write film reviews if something new came out, if it was even tangentially a reference to Star Wars,
Sure.
like Mark Hamill's in like, Big Red One or whatever, movie
Right.
it was at the time, Corvette Summer,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I'm
We'd
still
write a big
surprised
review
that,
about it.
I'm still surprised that Dennis Quaid's career survived my scathing Jaws 3D review. But
And I trust that was typed on a typewriter, probably.
Exactly.
Yep, it was.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots
More
of
than likely-
whiteout.
More than likely,
Yeah,
I wrote
exactly.
it- more than likely, I wrote it in a notebook and then made her type. That's probably what happened.
But it's funny
Right,
too,
everything.
because, as archaic as this was, we would take the typed pages and then I would cut the pictures out of a magazine and, like Starlog or whatever, and tape them with the Scotch tape
Onto the
around
picture.
it, and then put it on the flatbed scanner and, at my mom's work and copy them off.
One of my
Okay.
cousins.
Yeah.
Oh, no, exactly like that. Yep.
This is the Star Wars Screen Superstar from
wow.
1977.
Oh, fantastic.
I have all my magazines, all the fantastic films and all
Wow,
that,
yeah.
but this was the oldest one that I could find, with the 1977 copyright in it.
Wow.
I don't
And
think we have that one. Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
I've never
we
seen
don't.
that
we
one.
don't have that one.
yeah, it's and there's like lots of like airbrush art in there.
Oh, yeah.
you know. So
Wow, that's cool.
yeah, very trippy from
Yeah.
from 77.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
So you still do photography and is it, how do I pronounce it? Videography?
Yes.
You still do that kind of stuff today, don't you?
Yeah. So after my my small screen debut with the Star Wars movie, went off to high school, went off to college. I had a 25-year career as a photojournalist for the Chicago Sun-Times. That was
fantastic.
that was my career.
Very cool.
And
there I go,
so
dropping Roger
89
Ebert
through
references.
Yeah.
20, what's that?
I said, there I go, dropping Roger Ebert references.
Yeah, no, he was a colleague of mine.
Wow.
Was honored to go on many a film set that was being, filmed in Chicago. Chain Reaction. Roger interviewed Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman on set, so I was the photographer to go along and get the shots for that.
Nice.
So it was the 90s were a nice, of course the Bulls were going gangbusters.
Yeah.
So I was a sports photographer and I got to shoot all of the Bulls championships, for the Jordan era. And it was just a great career right up until 2013 when they laid all of us off because they wanted the reporters to use their iPhones for the photography for the newspaper.
Wow.
That's a whole separate podcast. But so no, we were victims of the declining in newspaper readership and all that. So 28 of us were let go summarily in 2013. And then that's when I really sort of doubled down on getting back into videography because at the time, the internet and all the websites and things were wanting video. So I started doing wedding videography. And then I did a couple of documentary films for CNN and ABC News and some things. So no, I've had a wonderful career, and I do think that my wanting to be behind a camera, I can trace a lot of that back to the wonder that seeing Star Wars brought to me. I mean, it didn't turn me into a cinematographer, for the actual movie industry, but I always liked, making images, whether they were still images or moving images.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I absolutely,
so cool.
Credit Star Wars with my own personal interest in photography and videography nowadays.
Carillion's a photographer as well, so he can relate.
Yeah, I shot professionally for about 25 years at one time, and I got into it originally for sports photography.
Okay.
When I was actually the team, we had a minor league hockey team here for probably about 20 years, starting in the 90s up until the early 2000s or early 2010s. But so I just kind of got into it for that, and then I branched off from there. It's kind of funny, you were literally listing all the stuff you've done. I was like, I did that. I eventually got into portraiture, then I got into wedding photography and videography and got into all that stuff. So yeah, I've kind of been there and done a lot of that stuff as well. So fantastic. And then there's even a Jordan connection with us.
Oh,
because you shot him with the Bulls, I shot him with the Barons.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Because we had at the time we had the Memphis Chicks were in town, and that was in the Southern League. Same with the Birmingham Barons, the team he played for. So they would come to town, and I was one of the team photographers for the Memphis team.
Yeah.
And so I'd be right there on the field, standing 5 feet from him. It was great.
But that was a media circus for you.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was crazy.
Normal game, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. Normal game, you get like 1,000 people out there, and suddenly, this place's capacity 5,000. We got 8,000 there.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was a lot of fun. Yeah, but I've had a big interest in photography my whole life as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably stemming from a lot, maybe the way you say it, from my visual appreciation of things like Star Wars and those types of movies that we all grew up with.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic.
I bought that set, Star Wars Frames, that big book set.
Oh, I've got that set too. It is. Yeah, I've got that set.
I mean, when you break it down into frames, and of course, I think those are hand selected by George
Lucas himself. Yeah, exactly.
Every one of those frames is a beautiful composition, that helped tell the story,
Yeah,
so.
and for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a 2-book set. It's huge, coffee table book size, hardcore or hardback, and it's got a separate edition. It's got one for the original trilogy, one for the prequel trilogy, and it's literally just these full page frames from selected straight by George Lucas out of the
In the
film
wide
itself.
format ratio,
Right, in the
which
wide,
is really
yep,
cool.
exactly. It's really fantastic, really, really good piece to have.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So to touch on something you mentioned earlier, you were reading articles. I know we were big fans of the magazines of those days. Did you have a particular favorite? I think we tended to gravitate. I mean, we read them all, but I always, for some reason, always kind of gravitated to Starlog for some reason. I just
right.
and Cinefex. And if I'm not mistaken here, I hope I'm not completely wrong here, but Cinefex, I think, actually was born out of Star Wars. Because of the achievements that they made, they actually started a magazine about special effects.
Right, about the behind. Yes, I have my Cinefex, all the editions that have anything to do with Star Wars. They're not as old as the 70s, of course.
Sure.
They were what, 80s or 90s maybe. But yes, the in-depth articles. So those were a little later. But yeah, fantastic films for sure. I know I got a lot of those tucked away. And then of course any of the sort of the official publications, the Star Wars album book, with the Hildebrand art on the cover. And in there, as I recall, towards the back, that was the part about the making of, right? The first part was about the story itself. Then I got into, here's how the wizards at ILM, made the movie. So those were the kinds of sources that Scott and I were using for, our costumes and even some of the camera stuff we were doing, like scratching the film with the, learned about rotoscoping and all that kind of stuff,
Well, I have a question about that, not to cut you off. The scene with R2 and 3PO.
Yeah.
Were you doing a stop motion type of thing?
No, those were so those models were articulated. So R2's head could rotate.
Okay.
He could go from 3 legs to 2. The third leg wouldn't go up, but you could at least like stand him up,
like bring it out. Yeah.
Moving arms. So fishing line.
Fishing line. I was going to say you had to manipulate it somehow.
Okay. So
it actually looked like stop motion.
Right. And we didn't get to dub in, the sound of the Star Destroyer clunking on the Rebel ship, but when he looked up, that was just pulling the fishing line and making it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And that's where somebody on that Facebook forum that I had posted on was saying, that's fake because, those models didn't move like that, and so I posted a rebuttal and sort of took it down line by line. So
there you go.
How long did the whole production take?
Boy, I mean, I don't have an actual record. I mean, like I said, I would guess we probably started, of course, we made the costumes for Halloween of '78, so it wouldn't have been before that. And so I would guess maybe in November. And the nice thing was a lot of this was indoors. So I have a feeling that we probably did a lot of the indoor stuff maybe in November or December of '78. A little break for Christmas. And then probably, and again, I'm guessing here, but I would maybe guess like the shot when we went outside for the Jawas, that was probably like on a Christmas break between Christmas and New Year's, from being off of 6th grade or whatever, So, and then it was back into the shots of the R2 in the sand. When he was, again, being pulled by the fishing line, that we did in Scott's garage, and it was not a heated garage. So we were a little cold, but we weren't quite fully outside, but we didn't want to bring all that sand inside. So we made it set with the sand and all that. So, but like I said, that's as far as we got. And we had, much bigger plans to finish everything, but it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. That was my question was how far were you guys intending to go with it? Because I know you didn't seem to have a Princess Leia for those scenes.
Yeah, there was nothing in the beginning.
So obviously it wasn't a shot for shot recreation, but
correct. I think it was, I think it was just let's do what we can and it, but and maybe that's why it sort of wound down as well. It's like, okay, we've done that. Now what? Oh, gee, we're not going to be able to escape from the Death Star, or now I had built. I built, and then again, somewhere I have a picture. There's a picture. So I was really into building plastic models when I was a kid as well. Even before Star Wars, I was into planes and tanks and that kind of stuff. Well, I was buying or getting as gifts the MPC X-wing models as well. I think I had 6 of them that I made. And I couldn't find it, Greedo. I was hoping I could, but somewhere there's a shot of my room with 6 X-wing models, sort of standing up on their engines, just like there was a shot of that in one of the books I saw, where they were standing in ILM like that,
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
So I think we were going to maybe try and do something with, 6 X-wings, but no.
What was the photo that Greedo showed of you with the Millennium Falcon?
Okay, yeah, so that one's much more recent. So that was my Master Replicas Millennium Falcon.
It's really nice.
Which I probably shouldn't have been holding like that, but so I bought that. Was that 2004? I think that came out. 3, 4, 2, somewhere in that range. And I think it was $1,400 was the new price or the list price on that. And then for whatever reason, I don't know if they had like a couple left in the warehouse or whatever, but one day I just happened to be on the site and it was there for like $800. And so I bought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You can't turn that down.
So that's and I have the AT as well. I have the version 1 of the AT Walker as well.
Oh, wow.
And so I added the Millennium Falcon to my collection, and there it sat for, so 4, 10, probably 12. I want to say it was maybe 2014 or 15. I finally decided to sell it, partly because I needed to reclaim some desk space. It's gigantic, as you can see. And of course, then the value had skyrocketed too. So, and I didn't buy it like as an investment thing. It was a nice sort of happenstance. But put it out there, and a guy from Hawaii wanted it. And so we made our deal, and I didn't even have the box anymore because the box was so big, I didn't have any place to store the box. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I was able to source a loaner box from another fellow collector, which was amazing. So it cost me about $150 to ship the empty box from, I recall, Massachusetts to Chicago. Was the empty box, and I paid for that. Then we put my Falcon in the donor box, and then that box went to Honolulu, Hawaii, at about a $700 cost for shipping.
Really expensive.
But the guy wanted it, and I sold it. I sold it for $6,000. So it was a nice market for it at the time. I don't know what they're at now, but
that guy won't lose money. No, even at that price, he won't lose money. So
but I was happy that I was going to another collector. Just like my posters, I'm starting to thin out my collection, and I'm just happy that a lot of the ones that I've held on to for 20 years or more, in some cases, are going to be appreciated by a new generation of collectors. So
absolutely. Speaking of
that's
that,
so cool.
What is the poster behind you in that picture? Is it a 3-sheet or what is it?
Yeah, so that's the 3-sheet style A on the left there, and then that's my folded style C that I had. They're both linen backed. And then not in the frame off to the other side of the Star Wars 1-sheet is my folded style D that I also had linen backed. So in the 1990s, there was a place called Spencer Weiss Galleries in Chicago, and they were like a real high-end art dealer, framing house. So I took all my posters and it was like $1,000 by the time I got them all done. But I knew I wanted to get those linen backed for preservation, and they look a lot better in a frame when they're nice and flat like that. So
those look really nice.
Did you have any restoration done to this one, or was that in that good a shape?
No, that one was it was folded up as issued, but it was in mint condition otherwise.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
still
Looks fantastic.
my
Yeah.
poster. There's another little fun fact. So in the 1990s, when I was, early 90s, when I was buying a lot of my posters, I was making my eBay purchases and doing money orders from the post office. So I've got the little carbon copy of the postal money order that I then, sent in the mail to somebody, because there was no PayPal at the time. And so a lot of my poster collection was acquired by, buying something on eBay, but then sending somebody an actual paper check in the mail, and then hoping the poster came back. So
Yeah.
so I've been an eBay user for a long time too.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's so cool. Yeah, I absolutely love the film. That was great.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh, well, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
I
Glad
loved
to
it.
share it with you. And yeah, I mean, I one of the so another person reached out to me after this showed up on the replica prop forum. It was a guy that was doing some kind of a thesis or dissertation on Star Wars fan films. And as I recall, I think he's from Montreal. He was a French guy.
Mhm.
And so he asked for permission. I sent him a MP4 of the film and all this. And actually, I need to follow up and find out what his final disposition was. But
Yeah.
in our talking back and forth, at the time, I remember I thought I had done this in '77, but then, and again, I wasn't trying to lie or be untruthful. That was just my honest recollection.
It was a long time ago.
But the one thing that gave it away was that Battlestar Galactica toy that didn't come out till Christmas of '78.
There you go.
So it couldn't have been any earlier than that, because that toy was there. So, but that's kind of cool though, right? I mean,
absolutely.
like the forensics of figuring out, and then like,
when
the
something
NPC
happened,
models, came out earlier, so that was legitimate. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, I think and the way that I've got it edited here is not the way that I shot it, right? I mean, that's another thing I learned as a kid about making movies was you don't do them in chronological
linear
order.
chronological order.
So I think the first things we did was
cut them into pieces and put them back together.
Right. So the first thing we did was we filmed all the hallway stuff and the stuff with the costumes, and then later on is when we did all the spaceships and the 3PO and R2 model shots. So
Yeah. Oh wow, that's so
incredible.
cool. I love it.
Yeah, those blasters, those Han Solo blasters probably came out in '78 too. When I think about it, because there wasn't much merchandise in '77, because
absolutely
they were taken by surprise at how successful the movie was.
And they were literally just giving vouchers at Christmas of '77. They didn't even have toys yet. They were actually sending out vouchers going, redeem this for, this following figure. Or
nothing like getting an empty box for Christmas as a kid.
Exactly.
Right.
Wait, what did you get me? Exactly. That's so perfect.
Well, wow, man. Thanks for coming on. And,
absolutely. I enjoyed that.
Thank you, Lovat.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll have to keep in touch with you guys, and Greedo, you've got my contact info. So, and anything else comes up, if you're interested.
Absolutely.
And,
we're always looking for more fans to sit in with us on occasion, and a lot of times because of scheduling, we can't get through all three of us together. So the more people we have that are willing to come on and talk about subjects and stuff like that, the more flexibility it gives us to, we started doing a format like 10-minute, what do we call
discussions?
Yeah. Or like 12 part. We call it 12 parsecs, I think, but we actually 10 minutes. I don't know how that works out, but so we do like short format stuff and longer format stuff where we just talk when we want to. So anything you're game for, we'd love to.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back and just chit chat some more.
Absolutely, yeah. And what kind of crossover? I mean, I know you guys were going to do something on Raiders. Like I said, my friend Scott. I mean, would you have any interest in him talking about the Back to the Future, the DeLorean project?
Oh, absolutely. I would love that.
That would be wonderful.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
We're actually in the middle, or we started doing a recollection series where we talked about kind of what we talked about tonight, our experiences in the movie theater with the Star Wars saga, and we covered We covered the original, the prequels, and the sequels, and where that kind of made us think about all the amazing movies that came out when we were kids to young adults, and we went to see so many of them in the theater. So we're going to do a series of those where we just talk about what we remember of our impressions and going to see, and whatever interesting stories there are about.
Yeah, just kind of what was that
movies and-
experience like?
Yeah.
To see, we've already done the Star Wars, but Alien
I got a
movie,
great
Terminator, and all that.
Yeah, have me back. I've got a great Return of the Jedi story that will be hilarious.
Yay.
So
Awesome. Yeah.
I'll
Definitely have
save
to get
that.
Very
so
cool.
yeah. So if anybody have any other questions or anything?
No, I just want to thank you for coming on and spending time with us.
Absolutely.
This is a rare treat for us. That was really,
Yeah.
really cool. I
Thank you,
enjoyed that.
Robot. Thanks.
Oh, you're all
Please
very
come back.
welcome. Nice to meet you all. And
Nice to meet you as well.
be good to stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Always fun to have some more Star Wars friends out there. So
Always. I can't have enough.
Well, we'll have to talk about a little bit. I'd love to hear some stories from your journalism career as well, because
Mhm.
we were like, I don't want to say we were obsessed, but we loved Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the man.
It was,
He
like
was a special guy.
mandatory.
No,
It was
yeah.
mandatory viewing for us, to watch
Absolutely.
these guys. And
Mhm.
one of my high points was I got a question in the Ask Ebert section on the Chicago Sun Times one time.
Nice.
So, he
Yeah.
actually answered my question. It was the equivalent of being retweeted today, I guess, or something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, the 80s version of being retweeted.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was actually like the 90s, I think.
Oh, was it 90s? Okay.
Yeah, because it was a
Yeah.
movie with Forrest Whitaker. It was that
Gotcha. Yeah.
the dog samurai movie or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
First,
yeah.
the samurai stuff. So,
Wow.
but anyway, we really appreciate it. It was a blast. You're much more talkative and charismatic than the original Lobot. So,
That's
Yeah,
right.
so we've got a Lobot upgrade here.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to have to install a remote control on your brain if that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll power down now.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. We'll let Gundark control it. Someone trustworthy. So.
Right, someone that we can trust. I love it.
All right, but
Excellent.
anyway, we're gonna end the podcast there, I think, for now.
Mhm.
So we'll see you next time.
Yep,
Cantina Club
absolutely. Thanks,
viewers.
everybody. As usual, just throw us a like and some comments down below. Subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you'll get notified when we upload new episodes like this, and you can meet people like Lobot. So we will see you again very soon. So take care.
Hi, everybody.
Scum and villainy, yeah, it's a wretched high.
Oh.
But life ain't always teddy bears, fireworks, and high fives. The folks round here don't care for sand. Stick around long enough, you'll be lucky just to lose a hand. Singing yum num, raise your glass and sing yum num. Yum num at the Cantina Club.
Oh, that's awesome.
Please, Master Carillion, don't let Lobot turn me into anything unnatural.
Natural. Master Carillion.
Oh, Master Carillion, sir. Don't let him turn me into anything unnatural.